A man was buried alive in his car by a mudslide. When he rolled down the window to reach out and test how deep the mud was, a massive amount of sludge suddenly poured into the vehicle. Panicked, he quickly rolled the window back up, but before he could catch his breath, the sunroof suddenly cracked open. He frantically grabbed some tape and tried to seal the broken glass, but the flimsy tape couldn't withstand the pressure from the mud above. Just as the sunroof was about to give way completely, Joey spotted a steering wheel lock. He quickly grabbed it and wedged it horizontally across the sunroof opening. This temporarily blocked the mud from flooding in. Joey let out a sigh of relief, but it was in this moment of relaxation that he made the stupidest mistake of his life. He grabbed his last bottle of water and gulped it down eagerly. Only when the bottle was nearly empty did he realize he just drained his lifeline. In a situation like this, every sip of water was crucial. Filled with regret and anxiety, he just went ahead and finished off what was left. Before long, he began struggling to breathe. The oxygen inside the car was running out. He grabbed a folding chair from the car and removed a metal tube from it. Then he took off a bottle cap, poked a hole through it, tied a knot with some twine, and threaded the string through the cap. This would prevent the mud from clogging the tube. Using some wire, he drilled a small hole in the sunroof, inserted the metal tube through the gap, and started pushing upward with all his strength. When 2 tubes had been pushed almost all the way through but still hadn't reached the surface, he realized he was buried deep. As it took more and more force, the 3rd tube wouldn't budge any further. Joey let out a desperate scream. Then he suddenly remembered his hydraulic jack, but the jack quickly reached its limit, and still the tube hadn't broken through the mud. So Joey draped a towel over his shoulder, gritted his teeth through the pain, and kept pushing the tube upward. Suddenly, he felt the pressure on his shoulder release. The tube had finally broken through to the surface. He took out his wire and poked open the bottle cap at the top of the tube. When he looked up through the tube, he saw sunlight for the first time in what felt like forever. He greedily sucked in a few breaths of fresh air, then started screaming for help, but after shouting for a long time, there was no response. Then he had an idea. He quickly rolled up an old newspaper into a tight cylinder, held it up to the tube opening, and lit it with a match. As he continued yelling, he let the smoke rise through the tube, praying someone would see it. But he'd overlooked one fatal mistake: lighting a fire in an enclosed space. If you were in his shoes, would you have a better way to save yourself? Follow me to watch the next exciting part of this movie.